Are you ready to have your mind completely blown? Everything you thought you knew about the world is about to be turned upside down. Have you ever imagined that the banana you eat for breakfast is related to the grass in your backyard? Or that sharks have a secret that dentists would love to uncover? And what if I told you that there's a hidden beach beneath the streets of London? In this video, we're going to explore some of the most surprising and fascinating facts about our planet. These are stories that sound made up but are 100% true and backed by science. Did you know that the largest grass on the planet is something you probably eat almost every day? That's right, bananas. The curved yellow fruit we all love, actually, come from the world's largest grass. Sounds crazy, right? But it's true. Despite their impressive height and sturdy appearance, banana plants aren't actually trees. What looks like a trunk is really just a tightly packed cluster of leaves. No wood involved, unlike real trees. That makes the banana the largest member of the grass family, and it doesn't stop there. Some species of banana plants can grow up to 50 feet tall, with leaves stretching as long as 13 feet. This giant grass produces one of the most consumed foods on Earth, with over 1,000 different varieties grown worldwide. So, the next time you bite into a delicious banana, remember, you're eating the fruit of a true grass giant. This botanical fact completely changes how we perceive trees and grasses. Have you ever heard of a plant that blooms only in the dark? Some species, like the Epiphyllum oxypetalum, also known as the Queen of the Night, open their flowers exclusively at night and wither by morning. Their sweet, intense fragrance attracts nocturnal pollinators like moths. This unique adaptation evolved to avoid the intense heat of the day and ensure that their pollinators are active in the darkness. Did you know that dust from the Sahara Desert helps the Amazon rainforest grow? Every year, strong winds lift millions of tons of desert sand and carry them across the Atlantic Ocean. This dust is packed with phosphorus and other essential minerals, acting as a natural fertilizer for the forest. Without this process, many vital nutrients would disappear, making this intercontinental connection a true miracle of nature. As bizarre as it sounds, certain turtle species like the Fitzroy River turtle can absorb oxygen through specialized openings at the rear of their bodies. This phenomenon, known as cloacal respiration, allows them to stay underwater for extended periods without needing to surface for air. This adaptation is especially useful for turtles living in cold waters, where conserving energy during winter is crucial. To prevent accidents with deer crossing railway tracks, Japanese engineers developed a train that emits barking and growling sounds. This sound system has reduced deer encounters by up to 50% as the noise of dogs scares them away. This innovative method showcases how technology can be used to protect both wildlife and passengers. If you think snowflakes are only hexagonal, think again. Some complex formations can have up to 200 sides, creating completely unique patterns. Each snowflake forms based on atmospheric conditions like humidity and temperature. Despite their diversity, they all share hexagonal symmetry due to the molecular structure of frozen water. If you thought you knew where most animals' hearts are located, shrimp will surprise you. Their heart is in their head, near their brain. This happens because their vital organs are compactly arranged in the cephalothorax region, leaving the abdomen free for movement. This peculiar body organization makes shrimp one of the few creatures where thinking with your head literally means pumping blood. It sounds like fiction, but it's real. In 1518, a dancing epidemic swept through Strasbourg, France. Hundreds of people started dancing uncontrollably, some collapsing from exhaustion. The reason behind this strange outbreak remains a mystery, but some theories suggest it may have been caused by poisoning from hallucinogenic fungi or a psychological mass hysteria. In 1964, a student named Randy Gardner set a world record by staying awake for 11 days and 25 minutes. During the experiment, he began experiencing hallucinations, memory loss, and extreme confusion. Although he suffered no permanent effects, scientists warn that prolonged sleep deprivation can be extremely dangerous to health. So, as tempting as it may be to pull an all-nighter, sleep remains essential. Every year, in the town of Castrillo de Murcia, Spain, there's a traditional festival called El Colacho, where men dressed as devils leap over babies lying on mattresses. This ritual, which dates back to the 17th century, symbolizes the purification of newborns and the expulsion of evil spirits. Though it may seem risky, the event is carefully organized, and no baby has ever been harmed. That pleasant aroma after a rain shower. It has a scientific name, petrichor. This scent is produced by soil bacteria that release organic compounds when the earth becomes moist. The smell is so relaxing that studies suggest it can reduce stress and improve mood. So, the next time you breathe in that post-rain fragrance, you can thank science. If you think the sun is the hottest thing around, think again. A single lightning bolt can reach temperatures of over 53,000 degrees, 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun, which is around 10,000 degrees. This extreme heat results from the rapid energy discharge during a lightning strike. That's why lightning can vaporize trees and even melt sand, turning it into glass. Some of the greatest inventions were discovered by accident, including the microwave. In 1945, engineer Percy Spencer was working on a radar system when he noticed that a chocolate bar in his pocket had melted. Curious, he tested other foods and realized that microwaves could cook food quickly. Soon after, the first microwave oven was born, revolutionizing kitchens worldwide. Fish that walk. Sounds impossible, but some species actually move on land. The mudskipper, for example, uses its modified fins to crawl out of the water and even climb on mangrove roots. It can breathe through its skin and mouth, allowing it to survive outside of water for hours. These fish are living proof that nature always finds incredible ways to adapt. If you think the universe has a central point, you're mistaken. According to the Big Bang Theory, the universe is expanding equally in all directions, with no fixed origin point. This means that no matter where you are, all galaxies seem to be moving away from you. This ongoing expansion makes the universe one of science's greatest mysteries. Unlike most animals, it's the male seahorse that carries and gives birth to the oise babies. Female seahorses deposit their eggs into a pouch in the male's body, where he fertilizes and nurtures them until they hatch. This unique reproductive system challenges traditional biological roles and makes seahorses one of the ocean's most fascinating creatures. Bees don't just make honey, they also have their own language. When a bee finds a good nectar source, it returns to the hive and performs a specific dance to tell the others where to find it. The direction and speed of the dance indicate the distance and angle relative to the sun. This complex communication system proves how incredibly organized and efficient bees are. If you think all dinosaurs had scaly skin, think again. Fossil. Discoveries reveal that many species had feathers, especially theropods, the ancestors of modern birds. Some used feathers for warmth, while others likely displayed them for mating rituals. This means that if we saw a dinosaur today, it might look more like a giant bird than a reptilian monster. Every sip of water you take has been around for billions of years. Earth's water cycle continuously recycles molecules over time, meaning that the water you're drinking today may have been consumed by a dinosaur millions of years ago. This endless cycle shows how our planet reuses its resources in extraordinary ways. Chewing gum might seem like a modern habit, but people have been doing it for thousands of years. Archaeologists discovered ancient tree resins in Scandinavia with human teeth marks dating back over 9,000 years. These resins were likely used for dental hygiene or medicinal purposes. So next time you chew gum, remember, it's a prehistoric pastime. Chess isn't just a game, it's a cosmic-level puzzle. The number of possible moves in chess is greater than the total number of atoms in the known universe. Every move creates countless new possibilities, making each game unique. This mind-blowing fact makes chess one of the most complex intellectual challenges ever created. Yes, this really happened. Fred Bohr, the inventor of the iconic Pringles can, loved his creation so much that he requested to be cremated and have his ashes stored in one. His family honored his wish and placed part of his remains inside an original Pringles can. This quirky fact proves that when you create something revolutionary, your passion can last, literally forever. If we gathered all the ants on Earth, their combined weight would once have equaled that of all humans. This was estimated in a study analyzing the biomass of these tiny insects. Trillions of ants roam the planet, playing a crucial role in ecosystems. They recycle organic matter, control pest populations, and even farm their own food. If you think earthquakes only happen on Earth, think again. The moon also has seismic activity known as moonquakes. These quakes are caused by gravitational forces from Earth and can last much longer than earthquakes. Some vibrations have been recorded for over 10 minutes. Scientists study these tremors to better understand the moon's interior and its impact on future space missions. Ever heard of the world's tiniest reptile? Some species of dwarf chameleons, like Brooksea nana, measure less than an inch in length. They're so small they can balance on the tip of a pencil. Discovered in Madagascar, these tiny chameleons prove that nature can create incredible creatures in all sizes, from gigantic dinosaurs to the smallest lizards on the planet. There's a creepy fungus that literally controls the minds of ants. Ophiocordyceps unilateralis infects ants and forces them to climb to high leaves, where the fungus releases spores to spread further. Once its mission is complete, the ant dies, and the fungus grows out of its body. This bizarre survival tactic has even inspired horror movie plots. And honestly, it sounds straight out of a sci-fi thriller. Sounds like a joke, but it's true. Just like some people are allergic to cats, certain cats can also be allergic to humans. This happens due to particles like dust, perfumes, or household chemicals. Some cats sneeze or develop respiratory issues when exposed to certain environments. So if your cat has allergies, it might just be allergic to you. The human brain has an incredible storage capacity. It's estimated to hold around 2.5 petabytes of data, equivalent to about 3 million hours of video. That means, theoretically, you could watch movies non-stop for over 300 years and still have room for more. Yet, we forget things all the time, because our brain filters out what it deems unnecessary. In English, the word for butterfly is butterfly. But did you know it used to be called flutterby? The original name described its light, floating flight. But over time, the pronunciation flipped to butterfly. This is just one example of how words evolve over centuries. If the original name had stuck, we'd be calling these creatures flutterbys. Today, what's invisible to us is crystal clear to some birds. Many species, like pigeons and hawks, can see ultraviolet, UV light, a spectrum we can't detect. This ability helps them spot hidden patterns on feathers, urine trails from prey, and subtle changes in plants to determine if a fruit is ripe. It's like having built-in X-ray vision. If you think blue whales are just gentle giants, wait until you hear about their voices. The sounds produced by these marine mammals can travel up to 21,600 kilometers through water. This allows whales to communicate with others across vast distances. Their calls are so deep and powerful that they can penetrate entire ocean layers. Some of these vocalizations are nearly undetectable to humans, but are vital for whale survival. Imagine a material that can return to its original shape after being bent. Certain metals, known as shape memory alloys, have this incredible ability. When deformed, they revert to their original state when heated. This is due to their special crystalline structure. These metals are used in medicine, robotics, and even space technology, helping in surgical implants, motors, and self-adjusting safety mechanisms. You may have heard that the Great Wall of China can be seen from space, but that's a myth. Astronauts confirm that Without optical aids, the wall is no more visible than any other human-made structure. Its color blends into the landscape, and it isn't wide enough to stand out from orbit. What can actually be seen from space? City, lights at night, and major highways. If you thought Venus had long days, wait until you hear about Mercury. A single day on the closest planet to the Sun lasts 176 Earth days. This happens because its rotation is extremely slow compared to its orbit around the Sun. If you were on Mercury, you'd have to wait nearly 6 months to see the sun set again. Even stranger, a year on Mercury lasts just 88 Earth days. When you think of a desert, you probably imagine endless sand dunes and scorching heat. But Antarctica is actually the largest desert on Earth. A desert is defined by low precipitation, and Antarctica receives less than 8 inches of snow or rain per year. Some areas haven't seen precipitation for thousands of years, so even though it's covered in ice, Antarctica is one of the driest places on the planet. They seem to float effortlessly in the sky. But did you know that a cloud can weigh over 1 million pounds? Clouds are made up of tiny water droplets, and when you add them all up, their total weight is massive. So why don't they fall? Rising, warm air supports the water particles, keeping them suspended and creating the illusion that they are light as cotton. But in reality, each cloud carries tons of invisible water. There's a tiny fruit that makes sour things taste sweet. The miracle fruit, or Synzypalum dulcificum, contains a protein called miraculin that alters how your taste buds perceive flavors. After eating this fruit, even a lemon will taste like candy. The effect can last for up to an hour and has been studied as a potential sugar substitute for people looking to reduce their sugar intake while still enjoying sweet flavors. Horseshoe crabs have bright blue blood, and it's extremely valuable. Their blood contains a special substance used to detect toxins in vaccines and medicines. This unique property has made their blood a critical tool in the pharmaceutical industry, with a single liter worth up to $60,000. Fortunately, scientists are working on synthetic alternatives to reduce reliance on these ancient creatures. If you thought your friend was a heavy sleeper, wait until you hear about snails. Under extreme conditions, snails can hibernate for up to 3 years. This happens when their environment becomes too dry or cold, and they enter a dormant state to survive. During this time, they create a protective mucus layer to prevent moisture loss. Once conditions improve, they simply wake up and carry on as if nothing happened. It sounds unbelievable, but there have been documented cases of twins being born months apart. This can happen when one baby is born prematurely, while the other continues developing in the womb. The world record is held by an Irish mother who gave birth to one baby prematurely and the second 87 days later. Doctors carefully monitored the pregnancy to ensure the second baby had as much time as possible to grow before birth. Humor is much older than we think. The earliest recorded joke dates back about 3,500 years and was found on ancient Mesopotamian tablets. And the topic? Bathroom humor. The translation reads something like, something that has never happened since time immemorial. A woman who did not fart in her husband's lap. This proves that some things never change. Even our ancestors enjoyed a good laugh. It seems counterintuitive, but under certain conditions, hot water can freeze faster than cold water. This phenomenon, known as the Mpemba effect, was described by a Tanzanian student in the 1960s. Scientists are still trying to fully understand why this happens, but one explanation involves the rapid evaporation of hot water, reducing its volume and allowing it to cool more quickly. So next time you need ice fast, try starting with hot water. If your stomach didn't regenerate, it would digest itself. The gastric acid in your stomach is strong enough to dissolve metal, but to prevent damage, the stomach lining renews itself every few days. This ongoing process ensures that your digestive system functions properly without sustaining permanent damage. Your body is constantly rebuilding itself without you even noticing. Did you know that the Eiffel Tower gets taller in warm weather? This happens due to thermal expansion. When metal heats up, it expands. The tower can increase in height by up to 6 inches, 15 centimeters, on hot summer days. This same principle applies to train tracks, bridges, and power lines, which expand in heat and contract in cold weather. If you eat bananas every day, congratulations! You're consuming a tiny dose of radiation. Bananas contain potassium-40, a naturally occurring radioactive isotope. But don't worry, the radiation level is so low that it's completely harmless. In fact, there's even an informal measurement called the banana equivalent dose used to compare radiation levels. You'd need to eat over 10 million bananas at once to experience any effects. Octopuses are among the smartest creatures in the ocean. But did you know they have 3 hearts? 2 pump blood to their gills, while the third circulates it throughout the body. And there's more. Their blood is blue. Instead of hemoglobin, which contains iron, octopuses use hemocyanin, which contains copper, to transport oxygen. Interestingly, when an octopus swims, its main heart stops beating, which is why they prefer crawling to conserve energy. If you thought your day was dragging, imagine living on Venus. A single day on Venus lasts longer than an entire year. This happens because Venus has an incredibly slow rotation. One full spin takes 243 Earth days. Meanwhile, it orbits the Sun in just 225 days. So if you lived there, you'd experience only 1 sunrise and 1 sunset per year. If a koala committed a crime, the police might mistake its fingerprints for a human's. Koalas have unique fingerprint patterns that are nearly indistinguishable from ours, even under a microscope. Scientists believe this adaptation evolved to help them grip eucalyptus leaves more effectively. So next time you see a koala, remember, they could get away with the perfect crime. It sounds like something out of a fairy tale, but it's true. Scotland's official national animal is the unicorn. In medieval times, unicorns were seen as symbols of purity, power, and untamed freedom. The unicorn has been featured on Scottish coats of arms for centuries, and to this day, it remains a beloved part of the country's heritage. Have you ever heard of a language that includes clicking sounds? Some African languages like Xhosa and Dokung use clicks as essential parts of their phonetics. These sounds function as consonants, carrying meaning just like letters in English. This makes these languages incredibly unique and challenging for outsiders to learn, requiring precise tongue and vocal coordination. If you thought learning a new language was tough, try pronouncing words with clicks. Yes, you read that right. In 1896, the United Kingdom declared war on the Sultanate of Zanzibar, and the conflict ended in just 38 minutes. The reason? The Sultan refused to accept a new British-appointed leader, but his forces were vastly outmatched. The British Navy bombarded the palace, and within minutes, the Sultan surrendered. This remains the shortest recorded war in history, ever. Wondered how powerful lightning really is? A single bolt can release enough energy to toast about 100,000 slices of bread instantly. Lightning heats the air around it to over 53,000 dawandawadawadakas, 30,000 daonatas, 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. It can also travel at speeds of up to 200,000 beperorme, 300,000 kilometers per hour, making it one of the most awe-inspiring forces of nature. The Amazon River is so powerful that it pushes fresh water into the Atlantic Ocean for hundreds of miles. In fact, the fresh water from the Amazon is so abundant that it changes the ocean's composition, creating a river in the sea that can be detected from space. This phenomenon, known as the Amazon plume, plays a crucial role in marine ecosystems and nutrient distribution. Believe it or not, cows can climb upstairs, but they have a hard time coming back down. Their knee joints and anatomy make descending steps very difficult. There have even been cases where cows got stuck on rooftops or upstairs in buildings, requiring special equipment to bring them back down safely. Blushing is a uniquely human trait. When we feel emotions like embarrassment, attraction, or nervousness, adrenaline causes blood vessels in our face to expand, making us turn red. Charles Darwin once called blushing the most peculiar and human of all expressions. It's a completely involuntary response, making it a built-in truth detector for human emotions. The world's largest pearl weighs an astonishing 75 pounds, 34 kilos. In 2006, a fisherman in the Philippines discovered this giant treasure but didn't realize its worth. He kept it under his bed as a good luck charm for a decade before learning it was worth over $100 million. Unlike traditional pearls found in oysters, this massive pearl came from a giant clam. The first emojis were introduced in 1997. These tiny icons, now used by billions, started in Japan as a set of 176 images created by the telecom company NTT Docomo. The word emoji comes from Japanese, picture, plus moji, character. Before emojis, people used simple emoticons like to express emotions in text. Today, emojis have evolved into a global language with hundreds of new symbols added each year. Sharks never get cavities because their teeth are coated in fluoride. The same mineral used in toothpaste is naturally present in shark teeth, making them highly resistant to decay. On top of that, sharks continuously regenerate new teeth throughout their lives. Some species go through over 30,000 teeth. Dentists would definitely love to uncover the secret behind their perfect dental health. We know more about distant planets than we do about the deep ocean. Despite advancements in technology, only about 5% of Earth's oceans have been explored. The vast majority of the seafloor remains uncharted, and scientists discover new species every time they venture into the deep. The ocean is truly an alien world, right here on our own planet. Giant squid, one of the most mysterious creatures of the deep, have the largest eyes in the animal kingdom, about the size of a basketball. These massive eyes help them detect even the faintest traces of light in the pitch-black depths of the ocean, allowing them to spot predators like sperm whales. Their incredible vision gives them a major advantage in the deep-sea darkness. Imagine if humans had the same strength as ants. We'd be able to lift cars. Ants are incredibly strong for their size because of their exoskeleton structure, which allows them to distribute weight efficiently. In their colonies, this strength is crucial for transporting food, building nests, and even carrying injured nestmates to safety. Surprisingly, the first oranges were not orange. The earliest oranges originating in Southeast Asia were actually green. Even today, in tropical climates, oranges can stay green even when ripe. It's only in cooler regions that the chlorophyll breaks down, giving them their familiar orange color. Imagine how different grocery stores would look if oranges had stayed green. Suspension bridges might seem like a modern invention, but the Incas were building them over 500 years ago, using only grass and plant fibers. These remarkable bridges allowed people to cross deep valleys and rivers in the Andes Mountains. Some of these traditional rope bridges are still maintained by local communities today, showcasing the engineering genius of the ancient Inca civilization. China is home to the longest bridge in the world, the Danyang Kunshan Grand Bridge, stretching over 102 miles, 164 kilometers. Completed in just 4 years, this engineering marvel connects two major cities in Jiangsu province. It's so long that seeing it in its entirety is nearly impossible. This record-breaking bridge is a testament to modern construction achievements. The word robot was first used in a 1920 play by Czech writer Karel Čapek called R.U.R. Rossum's Universal Robots. In the play, robots were artificial workers created to perform labor but eventually rebelled against their creators. This fictional concept introduced the term robot to the world and raised early discussions about the ethics of artificial intelligence. Today, robots have become an essential part of modern life, just as the play predicted. Flamingos rest by balancing on one leg for extended periods, not just for comfort, but also to conserve body heat. Their unique muscle structure allows them to stay in this position with almost no effort, making it the ultimate lazy pose. Scientists still don't fully understand how they manage to balance so perfectly for such long durations. In 2002, archaeologists in Slovenia discovered the world's oldest wooden wheel, dating back about 5,000 years. This incredible find provides insight into early transportation technology and how ancient civilizations moved goods. The wheel remains one of humanity's most important inventions, shaping how we travel and transport goods today. One of Antarctica's strangest natural wonders is Blood Falls, a waterfall that appears to be flowing with bright red liquid. The eerie color comes from iron-rich water that emerges from a subglacial lake and oxidizes upon exposure to air. Scientists believe that ancient microorganisms may be thriving in the lake, surviving in one of the most extreme environments on Earth. It's hard to believe, but sharks have been swimming in the ocean for over 400 million years, about 50 million years before trees even existed. These ancient predators have survived mass extinctions and drastic climate changes, making them one of Earth's most successful species. While many animals have gone extinct over the ages, sharks continue to rule the seas. If you hate mosquitoes, Iceland might be your dream destination. Due to the country's cold climate and unique environment, mosquitoes are unable to survive there. While most countries battle these pesky insects year-round, Icelanders enjoy a mosquito-free existence. So if you're looking for a vacation without itchy bites, Iceland is the place to be. Fleas are tiny, but they have superpowered jumps. These insects can leap up to 350 times their own body length, which, for a human, would be like jumping over the Statue of Liberty. Their legs act like springs, storing and releasing energy for incredibly powerful jumps, making them one of nature's best jumpers. In the United States, there's a small town in Texas called Terlingua, which was once a thriving mining settlement, but is now mostly abandoned. However, the town is still occupied by hundreds of old, dusty dolls scattered around. These dolls sit in town meetings, greet visitors, and add an eerie charm to the ghost town. Locals have embraced the quirky atmosphere, making Terlingua a tourist attraction for those who love unusual destinations. Imagine a place so silent that you can hear your own heartbeat, the blood rushing through your veins, and even your joints moving. The quietest room in the world, located at Orfield Laboratories in Minnesota, has a noise level of 9 decibels, quieter than a whisper. People who spend time in the room often feel disoriented and can't stay inside for too long. The absolute silence messes with your senses, making it one of the most bizarre experiences ever recorded. In Patagonia, Argentina, there is a mysterious hill that produces flute-like sounds when the wind passes over it, known as the Singing Mountain. This phenomenon is created by unique rock formations that channel the wind in such a way that it creates eerie musical tones. Locals and tourists alike are fascinated by this natural soundscape, which remains a scientific curiosity. The biggest animal on the planet also has the largest heart. A blue whale's heart can weigh up to 400 pounds, about 180 kilograms, and is so big that a human could theoretically swim through its arteries. Each beat of this massive organ is powerful, enough to be detected from nearly 2 miles, 3 kilometers, away underwater. It pumps around 58 gallons, 220 liters of blood with every beat, helping this ocean giant dive for long stretches at a time. It might sound unbelievable, but our galaxy contains roughly 400 billion stars, while our planet hosts over 3 trillion trees. That's about 8 times more trees on Earth than stars in the Milky Way. Sadly, we're losing around 15 billion trees each year due to deforestation, meaning that incredible number is dropping quickly. Ever wonder what happened to the rivers that once ran through London? Many of them were channeled and buried during the city's expansion and now flow silently beneath Londoners' feet. The Fleet, Tyburn, and Walbrook rivers are just a few examples of these lost rivers, still coursing below the bustling streets of England's capital. Some of them even form underground lakes that few people know about. If you think you run on minimal sleep, giraffes are the true champions of staying awake. They snooze for a mere 30 minutes a day, typically in tiny naps lasting just a few minutes each. This evolutionary quirk helps them stay alert against predators, since standing up from the ground is a slow and risky move for such a tall creature. Even more impressive, some giraffes can sleep standing up. Known as the Mpemba effect, this phenomenon defies our usual expectations of how freezing works. Under certain conditions, hot water really can freeze faster than cold. Scientists are still debating the precise reasons, but theories include evaporation, thermal conductivity, and the way water molecules organize themselves. Next time you need ice quickly, consider using warm water. Certain fish species, like the vibrant mandarin fish, can switch sexes multiple times throughout their lives, depending on their social group's needs. When the dominant male dies, the top-ranking female may transform into a male in as little as 10 days to take over the leadership role. This incredible biological flexibility allows these species to adapt swiftly to changes in their population. All the gold extracted in human history, about 190,000 metric tons, would fit into just 3 Olympic swimming pools. This precious metal is so rare that if we divided it equally among everyone on Earth, each person would get only about 25 grams. Despite its scarcity, gold remains one of the most prized metals, used in jewelry, electronics, and global financial reserves. With construction booming worldwide, sand has become so valuable that a black market for it has emerged. Though sand may seem abundant, the specific type needed for concrete and building is in short supply. Entire beaches are vanishing due to illegal sand mining, leading to severe environmental and economic issues in many regions. Whenever you shuffle a 52-card deck, the likelihood of recreating any previous sequence is virtually zero. The total number of possible arrangements is around 8, followed by 67 zeros, higher than the estimated count of stars in the observable universe. That means every proper shuffle very likely results in a sequence that has never existed before. When Coca-Cola was invented in 1885, it genuinely included a small amount of cocaine from coca leaves, one of its original ingredients. At the time, cocaine was considered medicinal and appeared in various commercial products. It wasn't until 1903 that the drug was fully removed. Interestingly, Coca-Cola still uses coca leaves today, but the psychoactive compound is extracted before processing. A single lightning strike discharges enough energy to power an average American home for an entire month, with temperatures reaching 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun and speeds of up to 200,000 km/h, $320,000 km/h. It's no surprise this natural electric phenomenon is so powerful. In fact, one bolt could theoretically toast around $160,000 slices of bread at once. The highest peak on Earth is also a frigid graveyard. Over 200 climbers who lost their lives attempting to scale Mount Everest remain preserved in the ice, many serving as grim landmarks for others. The extreme conditions make retrieving the bodies nearly impossible, leaving them as silent witnesses to the mountain's ever-present dangers. The first traffic lights, installed in London in 1868, ran on gas rather than electricity. A police officer manually switched between red and green lights. Unfortunately, this setup had a glaring defect. The signal exploded less than a month after installation, injuring the officer on duty. It wasn't until 1912 that the first electric traffic light was introduced in Salt Lake City, Utah. During the early days of photography, people rarely smiled because exposure times were too long to hold a grin, and Victorian-era etiquette frowned upon public smiling. The earliest known photo of someone smiling dates back to 1853, when camera technology improved enough to capture more natural expressions. If humans produced babies proportionally to a kiwi's egg size, each baby would weigh about 40 pounds at birth. Kiwi eggs can be up to 20% of the mother's body weight. Imagine lugging around 1/5 of your body mass as a single egg. Right. Before laying, the female can barely move or even eat due to the egg's enormous size. Vampire bats are the only mammals that consume blood as their exclusive food source, and some subspecies favor human blood. These tiny flyers use heat sensors to locate veins close to the skin, make a precise incision with razor-sharp teeth, and lap up the flowing blood. Their saliva contains anticoagulants, which keep the blood flowing while they feed. Nearly every banana you see in stores is a clone. The Cavendish variety accounts for 99% of the global banana market and is propagated by cloning rather than seeds. This means each banana is genetically the same as every other one. Such low genetic diversity leaves them vulnerable to disease. A single epidemic already wiped out the previously dominant commercial variety, the Gros Michel. Surprisingly, about 10% of the world's population has an extra bone in the knee, known as a bipartite patella. This additional bone usually causes no issues, and many individuals never realize it's there. It's considered a vestigial quirk, illustrating that the human body continues to evolve in subtle ways. Anatomical variations like this are more common than most people think. If we gathered all the land animals on the planet and weighed them, ants would make up roughly 1/5 of that total. There are over 12,000 known ant species, with estimates suggesting that trillions of ants populate nearly every continent except Antarctica. These social insects play critical roles in ecosystems by aerating soil, decomposing organic matter, and more. When lightning strikes sand, the intense heat, over 50,000 degrees Celsius, 30,000 degrees Celsius, can fuse the grains of silica into glass tubes called fulgurites. These delicate, branching formations can reach several feet, meters, below the surface, capturing the lightning's path through the ground. Collectors prize these natural sculptures, which freeze a bolt's raw power in time. Scientists have discovered that bees can tell human faces apart. Even with brains the size of a grain of rice, they're surprisingly adept at visual processing. In studies, bees learned to associate certain faces with sugary rewards, proving their ability to memorize and distinguish complex facial details. If we removed all the empty space in the atoms that make up every human on Earth, the entire human race would fit into a sugar cube. Atoms have a tiny nucleus surrounded by electrons that orbit relatively far away, creating mostly empty space. This structure explains how matter can pass through what we perceive as solid objects, even if our senses insist otherwise. The French capital boasts more than 400 museums, surpassing the number of days in a year. Alongside famous institutions like the Louvre and the Musée d'Orsay, Paris is brimming with smaller, quirky museums dedicated to sewage, magic, perfume, and even private apartment collections. You could visit a different museum every single day for well over a year and still not see them all. The tongue of the world's largest creature can tip the scales at around 4 tons, about the same as a fully grown elephant. This gigantic organ helps the whale filter colossal amounts of seawater while feeding on krill. To put that in perspective, the tongue alone weighs more than the average car. Another jaw-dropping example of the blue whale's extraordinary proportions. This legendary Italian city, built on 118 small islands, is gradually sinking. A combination of natural ground subsidence and rising sea levels causes Venice to lose about 0.08 inches, 2 mm per year. Since its founding in the 5th century, the city has dropped more than 9 inches, 23 centimeters. Engineers and scientists work tirelessly on new methods to protect this historic treasure from the encroaching waters. Trees may look solitary, but they actually form interconnected communities beneath our feet. Using fungal networks known as the Wood Wide Web, they share nutrients, warn each other about pests, and even help younger trees. When one tree is attacked by insects, it can release chemicals that prompt nearby trees to strengthen their defenses. A single teaspoon of healthy soil holds billions of microorganisms, far more than the number of people on Earth. This hidden biodiversity includes bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and more, all working together to decompose organic matter and recycle essential nutrients. These tiny organisms are crucial for plant health, water filtration, and carbon sequestration, playing a vital role in keeping our planet's ecosystems in balance. It's amazing how our world is full of fascinating curiosities, isn't it? From bananas that are technically giant grams to sharks that are older than trees, nature and the universe are full of wonders that defy our comprehension. If you liked these surprising discoveries, don't keep them to yourself. Share this video with your friends and family. I bet they'll be impressed by some of these incredible facts too. Don't forget to let us know in the comments which fact blew your mind the most. Was it the blue whale's car-sized heart? Or perhaps the fungus-controlled zombie ants? I'm super curious to find out. Click on the like button if you learned something new today. And subscribe to the channel for more content that will expand your horizons and make you see the world with new eyes. Activate the bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos, full of curiosities that will blow your mind. Thank you very much for watching to the end. See you in the next video with even more surprising facts that will blow your mind.